All right. Good morning, Vonda Lefevre. We have a special guest with us today.
I know, we're so excited. We've been trying to get her on for a while.
Oh my gosh. I don't know that we have ever had such a three ships passing in the night. We have Vanessa Leite, executive director of That Flower Feeling. And Vanessa, you have been quite the traveler and then you got sick.
I have, yes, yes, 6 weeks and counting, but I am on the mend. Thank goodness
Mm.
to modern day medicine.
Yes, yes. Thankful for doctors.
So
Yes.
thankful for them. Lots of travel didn't help it. It actually impeded, the healing process, but
Yeah.
I am feeling probably 95% better at this point, and I'm just so excited to be here.
Yeah, yeah, and the good news is you can do this from your home or your office or wherever, so we didn't make you travel for this.
No, a nice gray day here in Boston, Mass, where St. Patty's Week coming up, and
Yes.
the parade was yesterday. Uh,
Did you go?
I did not. I am not doing anything outside of my house until I
Yeah,
really
until
feel
you feel better, 100%.
100%, just because it has been going on for so long, but we've got, some really impactful rain today, about 2 to 3 inches. My dog's not happy, and you
Yes.
can probably see from my background, we've got a lot of gray.
Yeah, I get it. All right, well, I wanna dive in because, Vonda runs a tight ship around here, keeps me at my 30-minute mark usually, and I got to see you at Gliffy from afar. I knew you were not feeling well, so I got to hear you talk a little bit, but we've talked before, and I know you and Vonda have talked, and we have been wanting you to come on and talk about that flower feeling. We see it all over social media. I know a lot of our Flower Click members use it every time I go to NextGen or SAF.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. You're going on and on about who knows it and who uses it. But I'm on the other side because I've had a lot of people say, "What is that flower feeling?"
Right.
Well, that's kind of the balance. It's like
Yes.
you're out there, and even this weekend, that flower feeling. I was at Illinois State, and people are still not totally familiar with it. And you would think at this point, right, Vanessa, everyone would be like, "Oh my gosh, everybody should know about
Yeah.
that." But it's
Yeah.
about our podcast. People don't know about that. It's like, just
Yeah.
need your
You're like,
teeth.
"How do you not know?"
Like, what do you mean? You don't know about that flower feeling?
Right.
Yeah. So that's why we thought it was so important for you to come on because there are still people after you're going to tell us how many years that flower feeling has been out there for people to really take advantage of. So why don't you give us a little bit of your background personally first?
Absolutely. I have spent my whole career in nonprofit development work, running the fundraising department and then becoming executive directors for everything from the Irish Cultural Center of New England, Brockton Day Nursery, a local chamber, and my last position prior to coming on to That Flower Feeling was with Homes for Our Troops. It's
Hmm.
a nonprofit 501(c)(3) organization that builds homes for severely injured veterans. I did a community engagement and fundraising for them. And here I am now at That Flower Feeling. I came on 2 years and 10 months ago. Wow, it
Wow. Yeah.
it doesn't seem like we're hitting the 3-year mark. It was an interview process that was very interesting. At the time, Steve Dion, who was the executive director of Cal Flowers and of That Flower Feeling, brought me in for an interview. This was a 501(c)(6) nonprofit association that deals with marketing, which is something that I've never done before. I'm always interested in trying something new, hence the different areas in my career. Normally when someone gets into nonprofit, they stick with like hospitals or higher education or something around that lines. And I've kind of run all over the place because I love new experiences. I love being able to take something that needs to be built and really kind of work on the strategic architecture of infrastructure, of fundraising development, of just kind of making the organization run. And so
Yeah.
that's what Steve had said, at first I'm going to come in and be the community engagement and fundraising manager, which I thought was interesting. They really didn't have that infrastructure in place. So this was an opportunity for me to get to work, kind of designing and thinking out of the box and using my creative spin to really take it to the next level. About 9 months later, he asked me if I wanted to move into managing director as he needed to move a little bit more back into his Cal Flowers role.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then last year, they asked me if I could take on the whole shebang.
Sure. I don't have
Wow,
anything else
why
to
not?
Hey, why not? Been there, done that, and I love what I'm doing. I do miss that I really get to put a whole lot more into the fundraising aspect because that's where my passion lies, but there is so much to accomplish within this organization, which just hit the 5-year mark in January,
Okay.
that I just wanna keep driving this ship forward and
Wow.
taking us to the next level.
So, for those that don't know, again, Vonda's crowd, Vonda's
Crap. That's right. That's right.
community. How did the Flower Feeling initiative begin? We heard how you came on board, but for people that don't know, how did this whole thing start?
So 5 years ago, Cal Flowers, which is the California Growers and Shippers Association
Mhm.
out of California, they had a war chest of funds available, and they wanted to do some sort of give back to the industry. So they decided to take the moonshot and invest into a marketing campaign that would go direct to consumer and try to get consumers to see flowers differently. We know the success of flowers in Europe and other countries that are not the US, where people, it's just part of their daily ritual to pick up flowers. Well, this is what Cow Flowers strived for when creating that flower feeling. So they invested upfront $2.5 million into creating the brand, the foundation, which is a 501(c)(6) marketing foundation, and then also the campaign. At that time, the first campaign was Self Care Made Easy.
Mhm.
Folks involved with this was, as I mentioned, Steve Dion, Frank Biddle, rest in peace to him, such a great man, Jeannie Bose, Jos Bongartz, Ben Dobe, and just many, many folks on that Cal Flowers board who saw the need for this in this industry. Other organizations have campaigns like this. Remember, "Where's the beef?" "Pork the other white meat," the Got Milk campaign. But there's never been anything that has stayed current, trendy, and relevant in the floral industry. Now, when I came on, I've heard we've had other campaigns. I've heard, Buzz the Bee?
Mhm. From FTD. Yep.
Yep,
Mhm.
and then there was a couple of other things I can't remember off the top of my head, but the campaigns have kinda come and gone. So, upfront, that $2.5 million, once the campaign was established, they had a goal of gifting this to the industry with the thought that it would be ran by folks in the industry and that the industry would sustain it by providing the financial resources to keep this campaign afloat. Now, Cal Flowers is still very heavily involved, although we did separate as a separate entity last year, in August, actually. The goal is to maintain a fundraising level by voluntary contributions that come in from industry businesses. So, whether that's an association, a grower, an importer, a retail florist, a wholesaler, we need the whole industry coming together behind this to keep this afloat. We've hit the 5-year mark. We need to make it to 10.
Mhm.
That's incredible. So, I get the goal, like, you had funds and you wanted to create this, but what problem are you trying to solve for our industry? Like, why the flower feeling?
Yeah. So the industry has pigeonholed themselves into what I call the marrying and burying, whether it's sure on holidays like Valentine's and Mother's Day or weddings and funerals. There's those peaks, and then there's long-term valleys. So our direct to consumer marketing campaign is there to fill in the valleys, to keep flowers' presence in the mind of consumers all the time. We have an evergreen direct to consumer marketing campaign on social media right now that's always on. We don't turn off even during the big holidays because keeping consumers with flowers in front of them front and center all the time is going to continue to drive into their heads that flowers are there for every day in life. They're not just there for sometimes. So we have our new campaign, which launched November 17th of 2025.
Mhm.
Campaign is called Just Add Flowers. And what we're talking about to consumers is just adding flowers to any point of your life, whether it's gift giving, home decor, every day, just because, self care, mindfulness. Flowers are there for every moment in your life. And we don't want you to just think about them for those holidays, although that is good and keep thinking about them for those holidays. But
Right.
think about them for every single day in your life. The new campaign as of March 5th has drove 11.13 million digital impressions on Pinterest, Google, Meta, and TikTok. We're expanding into influencer marketing this month. We're hoping to get on to some CCTV, depending on the level of money that we bring in from the industry, along with billboards in some major cities. The campaign has had 912,000 views across all of those social media platforms, and then 268,000 total engagements, including link clicks, shares, comments, reactions, and profile visits. So we're continuing to see a big shift in how consumers are interacting with this campaign, and
Yeah.
we are hoping that it is driving them to purchase floral.
That's amazing. That's what we need to do. I think it's that awareness. It's like in your face, right? And that's what we need to do is to have everybody be able to see what flowers do because we know, right? We're in it every day and we can tell you the experiences, but the everyday person out there thinks sometimes that flowers are not reachable,
Yeah.
whether it's cost or where they're at, or it's like they don't think of those things. They think of maybe, you know, chocolates. Hey, believe me, I'm not against chocolates, but
Yeah.
it's
But add
it's
flowers with them.
yes,
Just add
just add flowers, add flowers with those chocolates, add flowers with whatever you're dropping off at a friend. So,
yeah.
yeah, I like that. I really connected, as you and I talked earlier, with this particular campaign, Just Add Flowers, because it seems like it's so easy for people to understand and to connect with because what you're showing is like, "Oh, yeah, no, that makes sense." So, yeah, I really love this campaign.
It's effortless, so to speak. It can just be inserted into any component of life, which is why I think it's resonating so well. Our other campaign did exceptionally well, Self-Care Made Easy. It came at a time when COVID was here and
Mhm.
people were scrambling, want to feel something and fill a void, and the flowers were
Yeah.
that void filler in life during Self-Care Made Easy. But as time went on, the landscape has changed on how consumers think, and self-care, yes, is still prevalent, but it isn't as prevalent, which is why we moved into that next period of this campaign, which is Just Add Flowers. I should mention, when I first came on, a lot of folks said to me, well, this is great. The campaign is wonderful. Self care made easy, but I want to know efficacy and is it really turning into sales?
Right.
So last year, in the first 24 weeks of 2025, we did a test market in the Midland Odessa area of Texas. We had Midland Odessa as the test market, and then we had 6 control cities that were surrounding there. We drove through billboards, through social media, and then some radio spots. A 10.59% increase in sales across florists, wholesalers, and grocery stores in that Midland, Odessa, Texas area.
Wow.
I did not know what to expect with that
Uh,
market. Honestly, I was probably on pins and needles the whole time thinking,
I'll bet.
"What if we come up with nothing?" I mean, and this was all done by a third-party data scientist. We did not control the data at all, so
Yep.
everything was done by Omicron. And they took the lead of creating what the plan was to get out the ads to the consumers, and then they collected the data from the participating florists that we had and the wholesalers and along with the grocery stores that participated. And to see that double-digit increase was remarkable to me, that this campaign over 24 weeks of time, and we
Impressive.
actually only ran 20 weeks. The 4 weeks additional was the over
the overlap.
the overlap that happens.
Yeah.
That's what they call it, the overlap that happens from the ongoing ads that played before, and people are still thinking about that in their mind. So 10.59%.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Digital marketing works, and if
Percent.
you
Awesome.
concentrate your efforts on consumers to get them to see flowers differently, we have that ability to change their mindset.
Yeah. So
Mm.
when you first talked about Just Add Flowers, and again, when you mentioned it at Gliffy, when you were saying that, so my mind, Vonda knows this, works in short spurt visuals, so think TikToks, short Instagram, like, that's how my brain works. All I'm thinking of is all of the marketing and how easy that would be for a flower shop to take that tagline through the summer and all of the cool visuals they can take of their store and then put, "Just add flowers, do this, and just add flowers, this, just add flowers," like, so many marketing opportunities with that tagline. Um
Oh, and also the tagline, "Oh, that flower feeling."
Yeah.
I mean, that would be
Right,
great too, the delivery person and
yeah,
the face and it's like, "Oh, that flower feeling,"
right.
you know? So
But
the 2 of 'em.
but so speaking of marketing, so you guys have marketing for these
Yeah,
people, right?
we do. Yeah.
Your brains don't work like mine.
We have this full plethora of assets that are available for the industry to use. They're on the back end of our website. You do have to register to be able to get to them, but there are digital assets. There are point of sale signs. There are posters,
Wow.
pre-made social media assets. And
Yeah.
if someone is a contributor, we also have customizable assets, meaning that we give you a template and you can add in your own logo. You can add in your own saying. If you want to switch out some of the funny little glyphs that
Yeah,
we have in there, you can add that in. So we want to make sure that people are aware that that is available. I go on social media on Florist page every Monday and I post these assets are available for you. We know that you don't have directors of marketing in most of your
right,
mom and pop shops.
right.
So
Right.
please feel free to utilize the assets that we have. Does that turn into anything? Once in a while, we'll see a couple of people sign up. And we were so fortunate. SAF just did a big postcard mailing with us to all of their members to ask them to consider using the free assets.
Yeah,
And we say free loosely because they are free, but wouldn't it be great if every florist gave $25 to this
yeah,
cause? The one thing that people don't fully understand is that, yes, we're not a cause charity. You're not giving to a United Way or the American Red Cross. So it's not all written off, but you can, as a 501(c)(6), write off your donation as part of your marketing spend. So whatever
mm,
you're spending on marketing and advertising, if you give us $500, that's just like giving yourself $500 to do some marketing and advertising for your company, and you can write your $500 spend off as part of your.
wow, and it's going back into our industry,
Yes. It's
I think everyone
amplifying
that
a national message that all consumers across this nation need to hear. We are focusing right now with this campaign on 25 to 55-year-olds, women and men, because men need their flowers too. We want to change the men mindset for flowers also. Men have always thought of flowers for just buying them for their wife or their mother or their children.
Mhm,
Wouldn't it be great if men just started buying them just because as well? That office space needs to be perked up. Come on, add some flowers in there.
yeah,
Mm.
good,
Went to church yesterday and I was sitting in my music ministry pastor's office during the service. We were having a little conversation and I noticed he had flowers that had wilted on his desk. That it's kind of like a common area in his office. I said, "Oh, I hate to say this, but I work in the floral industry, right? And I think it's time to refresh those flowers." And he said, "You're absolutely right. And I am trying to get in the habit of having flowers in my office all the time because when people come in, they say it gives them comfort and peace to have the flowers in here." Hello, this is the message that
hello,
we're trying to get out to everybody. And he's a
yeah,
man and he understands that. So
yeah,
we want to continue to amplify that.
yeah. I will say my youngest son, who is 25, so he's that generation, buys flowers a lot. Now, I'll say he'll buy them like, when he's at Trader Joe's, he'll grab a bouquet for himself, but he also sends flowers. He's a big flower sender, but he picks up flowers because he likes them on his island in his apartment. So
Ooh,
I think that generation too understands flowers make it feel nicer,
Mhm.
but I was also raised in my home.
I was gonna say, yeah, and he sends flowers to his mama.
Yeah, he sends me flowers, he'll send his girlfriend flowers, so I think you're on the right track there. I think
Yeah.
marketing for that generation, they get it, and who was it? Who's after Jeremy White? I think he's the main actor in that show, The Bear. He
Oh,
has been
yeah.
seen carrying every time he leaves a farmer's market, he's got a big bouquet of flowers. I've seen so many retail florists repost his content, and I'm
Good
like,
to
"I
know.
love it." I love it, and again, that's my son's favorite show, so there you go.
There
Perfect,
you go.
perfect
There's
influencer. I just wanna ask some more questions here. If somebody logged in, would you give them examples of flower shops that are doing a really good job using your content? Or would they have to email you if they wanted to see how it's being used? Because it's one thing to see it,
Yeah,
to log
definitely.
to see how, but it's quite another, to see a website or social media of somebody that's actually using it.
That is a good question, and that's not something that we have done, like, we haven't added anything like that to the back end of our website.
Huh?
Did most recently have a webinar. It was late last year, and Cameron Pappas of Norton's
Yeah,
Florist,
Norton.
one of
Yeah,
our
he's one of our clickers.
and he was speaking to how he's been utilizing the assets and what a difference it's
Yeah.
made and why he supports this campaign because of the difference it's made. So, those are definitely things that we can think of adding just so that folks, when they are able to sign in and create that username and password, have some examples.
Yeah,
That might even be a great thing to put out in our newsletter, like, if
mhm.
Jackie Levine at Central Square Florist is another good example
Yes,
of utilization. Our chair, Chris Drummond, is another good
yes.
example.
Yeah,
So,
for
and
sure.
we have come out, they're all sharing. So, yeah, I will, definitely talk to Madison, who's our communications manager, and have her start putting something like that together. That is very, very great idea.
Well, we've learned that from just through our industry because people are like,
Mhm.
"Can I see what Flower Click members' websites look like?" And, so we're like, "Sure, here's some you can preview." So we've learned that the hard way.
Love it.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. It really does. And that trust because they hear about it, but it's like, how do I implement that
Yeah.
myself? Show me somebody who's using that. So, Lori, that's a fantastic
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
You never
Uh,
think, of those extra steps sometimes when you're behind the scenes, like me, it's like, "Oh, okay, I'm thinking
use it.
just knows and just use it." But no, it is great to show examples.
Yeah, yeah. Well, especially you think the exciting part is we have a lot of new people coming into this industry
Mhm.
that we have new flower clip members that are just like barely a year old and owning a flower shop and they still aren't quite sure how to do social media really well.
Mm.
So they're like, what exactly am I to do with this? And so they still need that step by step. And what does that Vonda used to the curse of knowledge?
Mhm.
We always talk about we sometimes just assume,
Yeah.
"Here it is, do it." And we're like,
That's kind of what Vanessa was saying, right? Is that curse of knowledge because you're like, everybody knows this.
Mhm.
This is easy, right?
"I don't know how
Because
to
it's
do
easy for you. It's easy for some people, and then are like, no, give
that."
me a
No,
step.
I forget sometimes that not everyone knows this, so that is a very, very good idea. We do try to have at least one webinar a year to kind of
Okay.
show people how
Mhm.
to put stuff into motion, and last year also included our director of creative from Logical Media, which is our outside group that does all of the just out there
Oh, wow.
media
Yeah.
marketing, and he was talking through how to put this into action. But we do need to, yes, have examples as well, and there are so many people that are utilizing this, which is great, and we want more to get involved.
So that webinar that you had last year, is there a link on your website that people can click and listen to that recording of the webinar?
I believe there is, but if
Okay,
not, I can definitely make sure something gets up there.
because that would be fantastic, right? Now we're telling everyone how much great information you shared. If they had access to that, that might just spark them to go, oh, let me hear more and let me learn more.
Yes,
So, great.
I agree.
So, speaking of Cameron and other people talking about you guys, what can flower shops do and florists do to help amplify your message? of that flower feeling.
They can follow our social medias. They can share the post coming out of our social media.
Okay.
We don't focus on any specific flower, any specific type of bouquet, any specific flower shop, store, any of that. We
Sure.
try to remain neutral at all times to make sure that
Yeah.
we run the gamut for everyone in this floral industry. So sharing, signing up, using the assets. There's a brand guide behind the scenes there as well that kind of show you a little bit about the templates and the fonts. This includes some, like I said, posters, pre-made social media assets. There is a brand guide that talks about all the different type fonts and all of that that you can use. If you are a contributor, get the customizable assets. I can't tell you how many people are not taking advantage of that. And that's just a whole other encyclopedia of all of this, assets that are available and they're not being used. I think
That would be sorry.
What'd you say? Oh, yeah,
That would be
that's yeah.
powerful.
Maybe Ellie or I need to have that login, not
That probably would be a good idea, Lori. Wrong person on that one, right?
yeah.
So,
we announced that the customizable assets were available and Madison holds the key to them. So you have to email her to get the link.
Okay,
We've
I'll write that
we
down.
had 5 out of our 400 contributors ask for them.
5.
5. Yeah.
Really? I would imagine Vonda is not one of those
You're right. That's what I'm saying, Lori. That's what I'm saying. I didn't even know they had them. So see, this is all was
so funny. Oh my gosh.
well, I'm obviously not the only one. I've only
Yeah,
5 out of
you are in
100.
good company,
So come on,
folks.
I'm in good. Thank you. I am in good company.
It is going out again in the newsletter and, all we can do is continue to talk about it, which I'm glad
Mhm.
I'm here to be able to say
Yes,
that
you
because
will preach it.
yes, please do. I mean, imagine having this resource available in less than oh my gosh, I can't even say less than a quarter of a quarter percent is using
Yeah,
it. So
yeah. How would one sign up for your newsletter?
so you just visit our website and there
Okay.
is a contact us tab on there. And then there's also a sign up for the newsletter, add in your email. And
Okay. So our newsletter is going out. Maybe we can put the link to your newsletter in our newsletter.
right. Yeah, I would agree.
Good idea, Lori. We were
Yeah,
just talking about
we'll
that
add
this
a
morning. It's
newsletter to
like,
a newsletter. How about we'll try that?
I
I don't
love
know.
it. I love it.
Yeah, it
The
can't hurt, right?
thing that I've learned since I've been in this industry is it is so much bigger than I ever thought. Every time I think I've
Yeah,
familiar with all of the players, then I find another company that I'm like, "Oh, didn't know about you."
yeah. That's
"Oh,
what
didn't
makes it
know about
fun.
you."
yeah,
And to some degree, it's a bit fragmented in the fact that, like you said, Bonda, you went to Illinois State and there most of the people didn't know about us because there are so many different fragments and pieces.
Yeah,
And even to today, our newsletter, the amount of subscribers we have only stands at about 11,000. And
yeah,
I know the industry probably has 40,000 to 50,000 email
mhm,
yeah.
addresses that could be reading this newsletter and learning about that flower feeling. So in year 5, now that we're here, we've really got to set that as a goal to reach as many people as possible. With such a small staff and even going out to these trade shows that I do, we're reaching people, but that's just one portion of the industry, you know?
Yeah.
So we really have to figure out what is the mechanism to reaching the entire industry to get them involved. I stated that we had 400 donors. That's what, not even a quarter of the industry.
yeah,
There's so much reach that is there to be done, but we need folks to listen and the desire to actually amplify the message and want to get involved and want to be a part of this organization. I have a goal of reaching year 10, and then from there, it's endless. If we can reach year 10 with this, we will surpass any other campaign that have been out there in this industry. And we
Wow.
need to really make that work as not only an industry, but as my board of directors, my committee members, making sure that we are saturating not just consumers, but the industry themselves with information to get them involved.
Wow.
I
Well,
love
you
that.
just answered my last question. Where
Yep, I was gonna say.
say that was absolutely perfect. It was, what do you think in 5 years because of the campaign? And that was the perfect ending. Vanessa, thank you so much for finally being able to get us together.
Thank you.
And Vonda and I don't want to speak for Vonda, but I think
Oh, you can, Lori, you usually do.
we
Okay.
both feel like this is in a very, very worthwhile conversation, and we will do anything we can to share the message
Great.
because
Appreciate that.
we are for it. Looking forward to hearing more and more and more about it. And where will you be next physically?
Physically, not anywhere until May. I'm going to give my ears some time to heal.
Good for you. Yes.
But I will plan on going to the floral conference for IFPA along with Flora Expo. And then
Mhm.
from there, the calendar becomes jam packed.
Oh, and
And
get
will we
you
see you at AIFD
When is that?
July 4th weekend?
I have not had any outreach about that yet, but I will definitely look into it. I was there last year, very much
Okay.
enjoyed myself. I believe it's Orlando this year.
It is.
Okay.
We'll be in Orlando.
Hot Orlando in July.
Yeah, that's right. That's okay. They have a great lazy river. So
They
when
do
you
have
get
a
a little
nice
bit,
lazy river. And
jump
we're
in the
inside the
lazy
whole
river.
time, so it's not like it matters what it feels like outside.
And we
Right.
are also having a webinar. If we can sneak this
Ooh.
in on May 21st, we are doing the State of That Flower Feeling, a half year check in. We will be talking about the campaign. We will be showing some of the new because this is fluid. We're not keeping the same images and reels and videos all the time. Logical is behind the scenes, constantly creating new stuff. So we'll have a half year check in. It's May 21st at 12:30 p.m. And Madison will be sending out some information on that shortly, a save the date by the end of the month. And we hope that you and your followers and your members will be able to join us as well.
So be sure and go on your website, register for the newsletter specifically, and register for account, and then you'll be sure to get the information
You-
and the invitation for that webinar. So thank you again, Vanessa, for being here and sharing
you.
all this information. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.